Oh, just always good.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to Council Checkup. I'm Don Walmsley, your host. I haven't been in this chair for a bit, but then there's been Christmas breaks and all sorts of other things happening. With me today, we have a round of guests, one who will come in partway through the program. No, it's not Santa Claus, in case you missed him. But he could do a reasonable facsimile if he gained another 100 pounds. No, today I'm delighted to welcome back to our studio a well-known comedy duo, Abbott and Costello, although I'm not sure who's Abbott and who's Costello, in the forms of Sergeant Mark Morehouse from our local RCMP detachment. Welcome, Mark.
Thank you.
And Yves Guillas, our esteemed fire chief, although he likes just to be called chief, head of something. So, gentlemen, it's a pleasure to see you, and welcome to the new year.
Thank you.
Yeah, Mark, I'm going to start with you, and I'm going to start because it was announced before, but I want to talk a little bit about the new RCMP detachment build.
Yes.
Can you give a little bit of history? I mean, we've had conversations here about size and whatever, so maybe just go back a bit why this has become so critical.
Well, we're outgrowing our building as the towns get bigger, or the population gets bigger, we get more people that we're looking to police.
Yes.
Our area is 3,300 square kilometers that we have to police. Our main detachment is here. The other one is in Minnedosa.
Okay.
We did have one in Gladstone, and that's been closed out. So the members from Gladstone came to Neepawa detachment, and which added more strain onto the detachment with the size.
So when we talk about, we look between Minnedosa and here, what numbers are we looking at in terms of staff?
We're looking at 20.
20 members?
It's, well, counting, we have clerks too.
Oh, yes, okay.
Yeah. So we have 2 clerks in Minnedosa, and we have 3 clerks here.
3?
So, yeah, so
wow.
15 members.
Wow, that's that. And also you're a training detachment too, aren't you?
Yeah, we, as a training detachment, what they do, a lot of cadets will come here.
Yes.
They're usually here for their about 2 to 3 years, and then they asked to go somewhere else.
Yeah.
So we kind of train them up, and they get a variety of work here, where some places, if they went to the north, it's maybe lots of assaults, but the B&Es and the traffic and everything, they get that at the detachments here in the south.
Okay.
So we do get a lot of trainers, or a lot of people coming out from depot.
When we look at that kind of thing, over the past, let's say the past 10 years, have you seen an increase in any particular kind of infraction or a kind of issue that you're dealing with more frequently than you were before?
Well, we always have a lot of B&Es, break-and-enters.
Yes.
A lot of those. Some assaults, spousal assaults and stuff like that. Drugs is up. Your meth, that's everywhere.
Yeah.
You're dealing with that. And plus, with the flow of traffic, with everybody has a car. They're coming, we got major highways here. We got Highway 16, Highway 5, Highway 10.
Yeah.
So we've got lots of traffic coming from the west or the east coast, going each way, and you never know what you're going to have when you stop a vehicle.
And that's become even more so now, right?
Right.
And I hear you about the number of vehicles. I mean, we can just look in town ourselves, and I think we probably mentioned it before in this program. The number of people driving here has probably doubled.
Yes.
I would say in the past 10 years or so. There's a lot. People have a lot of cars,
and with the town growing the way it is here too, people are coming from like smaller towns, smaller areas, coming in to shop in Neepawa as well. Yes,
well, it's becoming, as we've noted, we have been designated a hub in the area simply because of our population size now. Now, tell me something, and I've heard people talk, and I'd really like to sort of hear from you, the fact that it's a brand new, larger facility, does that have some attraction for recruits coming in?
Lots of attraction. We have people, first of all, they came, last couple that came here, they came through the town and fell in love with the town itself. Found out, we're getting a new building and stuff, and word of mouth gets around. We've got people now that want to come to Neepawa.
Really?
And once they get here, they realize why, not just because of the building, but because of the close proximity to Brandon, to Winnipeg.
Yes.
And we have all the amenities here that those big centers pretty well have too.
It's true. Because of that, we have a wide variety of local service. But as you said, an hour to get to Brandon. Brandon has an airport.
Yeah.
Winnipeg's a 2-hour drive. Well, you can make it, and you've got an international airport there. You've got the city. So, and it's a beautiful place to be. And would you say, because you really would know this, but from perception-wise, we perceive this as being a fairly safe community?
I would say so. Yeah, I would say it's a very
We have
safe
people who
community.
walk home from work at night and don't feel...
You can still go out and walk your streets
Yes.
at night, any time of the day, basically.
Yeah.
And Minnedosa is the same way. But here you're, bigger areas, you have more places to walk, it seems, and you don't have to worry about that looking over your shoulder.
So and I understand it can be a really big attraction. I mean, policing is one of those essential services and critical services. So I'm going to leave that with you there. I'm going to come back to you on some things.
You can talk to Costello now.
Yeah.
There you go. That's the smart.
So Yves, I'll say the same thing. It was lobbied for a long time with the fire hall. Got a new fire hall. I take it you're pleased with it. You've tweaked it, I'm sure, knowing you, to where you think. And are you happy with what's going on there?
Yeah, I am. It's working out good. And I'm glad that, the hall is perfect for what we need and for the stuff we have. But as far as being involved with the RCMP for a change, it is good to be that connected to them.
Well, I know
to have them in our building, right?
You've already established that you're using the gym together, right?
Yes. Yeah.
And I thought that was, when you mentioned that, I thought that was a really smart move.
In the boardroom that they have there too, we use the boardroom.
Okay.
But also what I find too, it gets us, like Yves says, intermingling with people that our members don't know.
Yeah.
And his firemen get to know our guys, and we work hand in hand at scenes anyway.
Well, all the time, right?
Well, and they work out a lot better when you go there. When
Yeah.
you get to a scene somewhere, they know exactly, like, do you guys mind? No, we don't mind helping you out or doing this or doing that. Instead of somebody, dictating to you or something, we're just all, like we're all friends out on the road, right? So it makes a big difference, I think.
Yeah.
And it's something you can do in a smaller community like this, and you probably wouldn't see in a larger center.
Yes.
Unless they were housed, again, in that close proximity.
Yeah.
Right.
And I think that bespeaks well. So, and do you get a lot of tours? Because I'm sure people are going to be interested to see the new...
Well, we were having tours at our place, but I mean, of course, with COVID, it kind of
yeah.
stopped. I mean, we try to run, if we see a bunch of kids walking by, we'll let them walk through, but of course, everybody has to have the doors open and masks on, and they can't touch anything, right?
Yeah.
Which takes the fun out of it. But I mean, it's been, everybody loves a fire truck. Like, nobody likes police, right? Everybody loves fire. That's
Well, I don't know.
I can
If
understand
they let
why-
them play the siren and lights
Well, I
flashing,
can understand
might
why
get
you
'em.
wouldn't like it.
Exactly. No, it was amazing because, like I said, I don't know if you've seen me before there, but we had one little girl win the coloring contest this year.
Yes.
So that was too good for her. So anyway, we decided, the fire commissioner's office, she won from there. She got a couple $100, I think it was.
Oh.
So they said, well, because of COVID, we can't come out. And I said, well, that's not much fun. So we went down there and got a big check made up and took it down to her, and all our class got together. They sent something out for the whole class, of course.
Yeah.
But she'd never been in a fire truck before. Good, but neither had Santa Claus, right? so anyway, at the end, we had planned, we said to her, well, you want to go for a ride?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, that'd be great. I said, well, get in there. Well, no, the school won't. The school will let you. I'm sure they'll get you in there. So we'd pop her in the fire truck, and I'd say, here's the siren, and run whatever the hell you want. Well, we drove up and down the streets. Well, she thought it was so much fun, and all the cars were stopping for us. Moving, eh? It was priceless, really. It was good.
Well, and again, I think those are the kinds of things that you can do in a community of roughly our size, because so many times you go down the street, and if you don't really know them, you've seen them before. You recognize them as being a local. That's a nice touch.
It's so personable too in a community this size too, right?
Yeah.
You get to know who your neighbor is. You get to know who your essential services are, people, and who to contact.
Well, and you have that, you go down the street and you see, like I said, he'll drive by and he'll wave or do something, and even for kids, they feel safer, they feel better about it, right? Instead of going the other direction, running. I run, yes, but I mean, that's the point.
Yeah, well, you've had a bad experience with them. I mean.
I'm just glad he wears a mask.
Yeah.
It's one thing too with Dairy Queen here in town too. We have they give us coupons, and not for us, of course.
I've never seen one.
You got to be young.
Yeah,
You're too old.
I guess we just don't fit that.
So what we do, we go around in the spring and summertime, and
Yeah.
we give the coupons out for free ice cream, and they're wearing their bike helmets and stuff like that. So it gets the people to see us as a different outlook too, and not just the the bad policemen's coming to arrest me or anything like that. It's
Right.
they're giving stuff out, and they go to the Dairy Queen and like it. Now we've noticed an increase in kids wearing helmets because of this, because every time they see a police car,
Whoa, with a helmet.
Yeah.
Hey, I'm going to get
I'm going to get free ice cream. Yeah.
You know what? And that's cool. And I'm going to pull the age card here on both of you. But I remember growing up that it was just common knowledge. You went to a policeman for help. It was community policing.
Yes.
Yeah.
You saw the policeman in the coffee shops, in the pool hall. They'd come drifting in, have a chat. Maybe if they had time, might play a quick game of snooker, that kind of thing. We seem to, in many jurisdictions, especially urban, have moved away from that. You can still sort of have a sense of that.
Yeah, and this group that we have here right now, members, and they're out playing junior hockey. They've got a curling team in the men's curling league.
Excellent.
They're getting involved in different things, and every group could be different that's coming in.
Yeah.
Persons, and but this is a group that wants to get together and do this in the community. And I've got such great feedback from community members, seeing the members curling and stuff like that. They get a good kick out of the members doing that too. I think they've only won one game, but the members are having fun. They're getting to meet people that they probably wouldn't have met before, maybe. Noon hour hockey, they're meeting people through that too. And lots have kids, and kids get involved in different sports and school events. So the members are getting involved in that as well with their children. So it gets them to know that the other side of not just being a policeman, but being a person.
Right.
And that, you know what, when you boil down to it, we're all just people.
That's right. Well, some of
Well,
us.
I'm pretty special.
Yeah, you are.
There we go.
You are pretty special.
So while I've got you here, I've always been curious, and perhaps others are as well. When you both arrive at a scene, you clearly have defined roles, correct?
Yes.
So can you start, what's your role if you're coming up to a scene? What is essentially that role? And I know it changes, it varies with the situation, but.
Like an accident?
Yeah,
scene?
let's say.
I have to assess everything that's going on there,
Yeah.
and then the scene actually belongs to me, doesn't belong to them. And
Okay.
I have to set it up and make it safe for everybody. So if it's been a car accident, like we have to disconnect the cars, make sure that they're not going to flip the airbags off again or something's going to happen. We have to stabilize the cars so we can get the people out and all this kind of thing. So I get my guys doing all this kind of thing and making sure that the scene isn't been basically just the obvious tampered with, if to say.
Okay.
In something like it's not something out of the ordinary, right? And that's what we do. That's what my job is.
Yeah.
And then my guys do whatever they have to do. Block the car, tear it apart, do whatever to get the person out. That's our priority, to save people, right?
Right.
But we have to have it safe first.
So if a call comes out and you both attend, it starts with the safety and the organization from there, correct?
They're usually pretty good to block traffic, make sure that we're not going to have a collision, because it's amazing people do not see red lights or flashing lights anywhere. They want to hit them for some reason with their car. I don't know why.
Yeah.
But yeah, so they're usually really good to stay back. I mean, they want to see what's going, not to see what's going on, but they have to get their information too, right?
Yeah.
But I mean, usually the first one comes in, they block the road so nobody comes in, and then we set up as they set it up, they move in closer, right? By then, we've already set up our situation.
Yeah.
It's safe to go, and then everybody can do their thing, right?
And we know it's safe once they're there. Like they clear the scene to make it safe, basically.
Okay. So then your role in terms of what are you looking to do at a situation like, say, an accident?
Yeah. Well, like Yves says, we'll block the traffic off, so we got it contained.
Okay.
Especially if it's something we have to get evidence for, and if we have to shut the highways down, we'll do that. We also go and talk to the individuals who may be involved in any accidents, get information from the fire chief or his assistant in command, whatever. Get information from him about what they saw when they came up to the scene, what looked out of place, anything looked out of place. If it's alcohol, do they smell any alcohol on anybody, or liquor, I should say. So if they could smell any liquor, anything like that, anything out of the ordinary, basically. And then we go from there.
So Now, let's add a third component. You need to have an ambulance. What's the ambulance's role?
They're waiting for us to stabilize the person or get the person out or get to that point where we're ready to get them out, right? Like they're the same way. They're not supposed to touch that vehicle until we make it safe.
Okay.
And then once that happens, then everybody got a free run on it, right?
Yeah.
But yeah.
And then if the ambulance gets there and we want to make sure the person, like Yves says, is safe, we'll let them do their thing, and then we'll take the investigation from there. If we have to go to the hospital, we go to the hospital, and the whole works too.
Yeah.
One of the good things with the firemen, if there's only a couple of us there and we have to do our investigation, they usually take over with the traffic control, and we couldn't do it without them. That's for sure.
Yeah.
I mean, they're an asset to us, and great knowledge of what they've seen coming up to scenes and stuff like that too to help out in our investigations.
Very much a team effort.
It's a team effort
by
for
far.
sure. Yeah.
And like I said before, that's the nice thing about knowing these guys, because I mean, you come up and you're not like you're talking to a stranger, or he doesn't believe what you're saying. He knows who you are, right?
Yeah.
Makes all the difference in the world, right?
Yeah.
Well, and especially, I mean, now your jurisdiction won't be as large as Mark's, but within that, or is it?
He couldn't handle it. So.
You don't know me very well. Come on, let's get serious here.
I was trying to just sort of follow the lines.
Oh, yeah.
Clearly, you don't, but that's okay. We know you. Because now does that change? For example, if there's something that happens in the community, like a fire in a house or that kind of thing?
Well, they're there too, but I mean, it's the same thing. We need to watch for, like for instance, like if the hydrant's in the wrong place and we have to string a hose, we need somebody to block traffic off or whatever. I can't have people run over my hose, right?
Yeah.
And then of course they're not going to go into a burning building. I mean, they'll go into, like we had a call the other day and they went in because it was an elderly care home, or not a care home, but a elderly apartment.
Yeah.
So they were in there because they were there first ahead of us. They went in to make sure what it was. But I mean, they don't go very far. They go so far and then they wait to make sure, and that's what their job is, right? And I mean, they would help clear and everything else if they were in the buildings, which would be handy, right? But otherwise, we kind of take control again. It's our scene. We do it.
Well,
we look
I guess
after it.
the initial safety of individuals and the building or the location is primary, and that falls to you. And then you've got clearly, if there's any sort of, as you say, investigation evidence that needs to be, as well as just helping with that whole process.
That's right.
But like, there's lots of things. Like if a fire started outside on somebody's house around a corner, like how did that start?
Yeah.
And I mean, it doesn't make sense to us. And then of course, they're there with us, right? So they can all look at it together. And then of course, we check for whatever else, right?
Yeah.
So if we have to call in the fire commissioner, then we'll go through Yves and say, we probably need him, or Yves will say, we're going to call the fire commissioner's office right away.
Yeah, because there's too many unknowns.
That's right.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Fair enough. So.
Works good.
I forgot to ask, how many members do you have? It's a volunteer fire department for the.
Right now, I think I've eliminated a couple off for this year. So I mean, we're sitting at about 27 guys right now.
Is that sufficient? Do you need more?
We're always looking for more. I mean, we've got a system now set up where you can put in an application. You go and pick one up at the town office and fill it out for me.
Okay.
And stuff like that. And then it pretty much covers everything I want to know about you. And then if I want to follow up, if we need somebody, but we're always looking for somebody. Like there's a lot of people that belong to it, but I mean, there's a lot of them that are not around either, right?
Yeah.
Like I mean, weekends or something. I mean,
it is definitely a commitment.
Oh no, it's going to be more of a commitment, and the town's pushing for that too. I mean, like you can't miss practices, and you have to. There's so many changes now with everything going on, and even like the stuff we talk about to change stuff and that. Like this didn't work, so we're going to change it this way and change it that way. If you miss all that and you come and do all the wrong thing. And
there's also regulations that you have to follow through
all the time.
So
there's always something.
Yeah.
And they're changing all the time too.
Yeah.
And even with the COVID regulations, like if you're not there on top of it, you're missing it, right?
Yeah, and that's a challenge for sure. That's that kind of thing. Well, you know what? You both work in professions that are critical and aren't often necessarily appreciated until you're needed, until you show up and do what you need to do. You're with that thing. It's unfortunately that just seems to be the way it is. But I'm glad that I think our community appreciates both your services. We get a lot of feedback from newcomers about how respectful.
Yeah.
That's not quite what they're used to in some countries.
Yes, yeah, and we get like good feedback all the way around, and like I say, with the fire department and that, and it's great to see that. Our members appreciate that as well. Like somebody might just drop something off at the office, like some baking or anything like that.
Yeah,
you know, and,
I know.
And it is appreciated by all, and especially when a card comes in thanking you for what you did, and you know the member gets
and
likes them.
It's nice to see that, because it is a sense of appreciation, and we have a number of cultures here who show appreciation by sharing food.
Yes.
And I think that's such a really neat, we used to do that.
Yeah.
You know, 50, 100 years ago, that was commonplace here. We shared.
Sometimes I
food
get
with
Yves
each
to
other.
try it first in case he just falls over.
Well, you know, it's
much,
probably a very good policy.
Yeah.
But with anything, there's changes.
There is.
And so I'm going to come back to you talking about changes. There are personal changes in the works for you, right, my friend?
Yes, there is. Yeah, I'm going to be retiring. It's going to be August the 2nd of this year.
Official date.
Official date. I start my holidays May the 9th to August 2nd.
Well, I'm sure you've accumulated a few.
Yeah, and it'll give me 36 years of being a nursing officer.
Holy cow, you've seen a lot
So
during
it's
that time.
seen a lot, worked some very good cases, and going to miss it, that's for sure. But you kind of know when your time comes, and you know, we're healthy. My wife and I are both healthy. We have family. Our boys and families are in Brandon. We're going to be moving to Brandon, and so we can be around the grandkids more and stuff like that. And
Well, you've been located. I mean, you haven't worked here. You were working in Stonewall, but I know Marie Jean you were still located here. So how long have you been in Neepawa area?
Well, 1997 we came to the province of Manitoba from Ontario.
Okay.
Marie worked with the hospital in Carberry.
In Carberry,
for
all
about
right.
the first year. Then she got on with the resource coordinator and got the job up here in Neepawa as a resource coordinator, which she had worked as resource coordinator in Ontario before. So I think it was 1998, 99, she has been working out of Neepawa until she retired December of this year.
I remember when she came. Yeah, that's so quite a while. You've got a lot of history here.
And then we were amalgamated at the time, and when I was in Carberry, with Neepawa, and it was Neepawa and Gladstone.
Yes.
So we were back and forth working up here, and I got to know so many people. And so that's when I was in Stonewall and came back this way. It just rekindled the old acquaintances again, and continued from there.
Well, you know what? With this departure, you're going to leave. There won't be as many lost balls at the golf course. You're going to leave
that's
some
right.
friends
Well, I
behind.
pick up. I know. I told Yves, because we golf sometimes together. So I usually keep an extra few in the bag just for him anyway. But, so I told him to put his initial on it.
So have you any plans for visiting back here, or?
Oh yeah, I have plans of coming back to visit and stuff like this. And like I say, we got a beautiful golf course here.
Yeah.
Plan on doing that, and who knows, there may be something in the works where I might come back and work 2 or 3 days something here in town.
You know what? That'd be really nice to I won't see to say your charming face, but
Well,
at least,
but I do.
We could think of something, right?
he won't be able to join the fire department. He's not tall enough.
I do all the undercarriages. We're looking at the fire equipment and stuff. But one of the things too, I like to thank the people, the citizens of Spruce Plains Detachment for all the support they've shown me through the years and stuff like that, and Town of Neepawa has been great. It's a great place to live, great place to bring up kids, but we're going to be moving closer to grandkids and stuff, and I can't say enough about Neepawa.
We make those choices, and it's not usual in this day and age where we see in a profession like yours where there is a lot of movement. For somebody to have stayed within a community and a community area for so long, it's been really nice, because there is something very important about consistency. I mean, people come, people go, that's the nature, but nice to have some sort of stable presence. So we really do hope that something happens for you in the future. We will miss you as a community member, because you very much were involved in the community. We'll also miss you in your attire and driving in that very big truck.
Little people like that.
Hey, maybe you could drive the fire truck. You could go and volunteer
Somebody
to
should.
be a fire truck driver. Press the buttons. There you go.
Yeah.
But best wishes to you and Marie Jean. And I know that, your family being in Brand is a big pull. Grandkids makes sense. And Neepawa's not even an hour away to come golfing.
That's
so
right.
there you go.
Yeah.
And I'm sure even old duffers like this would be quite
Oh,
happy
yeah.
to partner with you.
Yeah. No, it's going to be different, but it's a change again.
Yeah.
So, but like I say, you can always come back, right?
Well, and that's true.
Yeah.
And that would be good. So you're gonna miss a punching bag here.
Yeah, kind of. A little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, well, what do you do, right?
Well, I guess
You learn to live through it.
That's right. You'll find somebody
I'll
else.
probably no, I won't be sad very long.
I'm certainly going to miss having you two as a duo. I'm hoping there's an opportunity going forward at some point to have you back as a duo. Because I think there's, that would be funny because it's always been entertaining. I always get people stop me in the streets and say, "Oh, those two, they crack you up." And I say, "Yep, you should be in the preamble before we go on air." So,
No, you'll probably be missed a little bit, that's for sure.
anything either of you would like to add? Because I see our esteemed fair-haired mayor is out there.
Really?
Yeah, so we'll probably look at bringing him in and see what he has to say. I'm being polite.
Yeah,
diplomatic.
really, because anything he says is probably not true. That's the big thing with him, right?
Anything from the fire department, anything from the detachment that you would like to pass on?
No, I think the only thing we were discussing is, I think one of the things we should mention, and one of the things from the fire department side of things is, like, we really want people right now, because we've had a few issues lately,
Okay.
a couple calls that are kind of dangerous, and I want people to check their smoke detectors if they're listening, make sure they're all working.
And that's wired in as well as just battery
anything,
operated?
just check
Okay.
your smoke detector, make sure it works.
Okay.
And it's just this time of year for it. And the other thing is, if you do smell smoke or something in your house, don't hesitate to call 911. Like, I had a call that the building was actually on fire, and they actually called the town office, and then the town office called me because they smelled smoke. And they lost the kitchen and everything. It was all on fire when I got there.
So don't just go straight to calling 911 fire, because you'd rather be there and say, it's nothing,
I'd rather say nothing than,
than
by
it
far.
be serious. Okay.
That's for sure.
So remember that. If you think if there's smoke, you think there might be fire, don't call anyone else. Simply call 911 and ask for fire. That's the best way. You won't get in trouble for it. We don't penalize people for calling. As you heard from our fire chief, he'd much rather receive the call, come in and say it's okay, not a worry, than not to have called and maybe something sort of eventualizes or comes from it. So remember that, guys. 911. Ask for fire. And if you feel there's a difficult situation or conflict, potential, you ask for the RCMP. And when in doubt,
Why would you ask for the RCMP?
yeah. So
You're gonna see him at the door.
That's why it's good to be, they don't know you're coming.
Oh, that's what it is.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, I didn't realize
It's
that.
the element of surprise.
Oh, there it is. Hey.
Yeah. Well, gentlemen, as always, it's been a pleasure.
It was good.
And
Thank you.
Nice to talk to you again. Start the new year off well. A little bit of laughter, some information, and a poignant moment saying goodbye.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yep.
Well, I have to do something about that.
Yeah, something. Nothing major, that's for sure.
So, I guess I'll ask our tech guy, Jeremy, if he wouldn't mind arranging for Blake to come in. And I guess you two gentlemen, I'll let you go your own way and take care of yourselves. So if you wouldn't mind
Now,
turning
do you want
off
the
your-
cuffs on the way out, or
Thank you.
do I put the cuffs on you on the way out, or just leave them?
Just outside of the camera, okay? So
yeah.
it doesn't look bad.
Okay. Yeah. Sounds good. Thanks, Don.
You're welcome. You've been listening to a duo that we've had on here before, Essential Services, RCMP, and Fire Department, which clearly have a very good working relationship. And anyway, next to come in is our mayor, Blake McCutcheon. And so I'm just waiting for our gentlemen here to wrap up their tech. They're not very tech savvy, these two gentlemen, but that's okay.
I try to teach them everything I can.
Here we go. Thank you again, guys. And I will welcome our mayor,
Set it up nicely for you. Thank you.
Blake McCutcheon.
We can take a pass.
Yeah, we're separated enough
Okay.
now. Welcome, Blake.
Yes.
I don't know if you listened to any of it, but
No, I did not. I was scared to, actually.
Well, no, actually, they were very diplomatic.
Excellent.
Well, not as diplomatic as those two can get.
Okay.
I introduced them as our local Abbott and Costello, and that
Okay.
would seem to go very well. But
Okay,
as
good.
always, a lot of good information
Yeah,
and
good.
some interesting stuff.
Oh, that's great.
So welcome, sir.
Thank you.
You have a
we
good
haven't
Christmas
been-
season?
Yeah, yes, thank you. Yeah, no, everything was good. You haven't been here for a while, right? This is your you took a-
we didn't get the one in December because
No.
of thing and
one in November.
Last one I
Yeah,
wasn't
yeah,
November, yeah.
yeah.
And the last one I was not able to
Right.
participate. So lots has happened.
Yep. Yeah.
Anything in particular, or can I just jump in?
I think just jump in. Like I said, I was just sitting with Rain before I came
Yeah.
in, and Rain did the interview
Yeah.
in December, and we went over a lot, and there hasn't been a lot of new stuff, but I mean, there's always things to talk about.
So, what are your thoughts now? I mean, I've got a couple of things on my mind, and I'm sure you probably had some chats about them anyway. But we've got a new hospital coming.
Absolutely, yeah, it's
That's
exciting.
major.
Absolutely.
Major. And we were just talking about the thing that we've just had a new fire hall.
Yep.
We're getting a new police station.
Yep.
Mark was talking about the appeal for
Yes,
that for
absolutely,
new
yeah.
members coming in.
Yeah,
It's pretty exciting.
Yep.
Plus, it identifies Neepawa as a hub. And now, of course, that wonderful announcement that I know many people have been planning for a while, that we have been designated a hub, and we're going to start with a 60-bed hospital,
Correct.
an emergency, and a
Yeah.
variety of other things.
Variety
which
of
is
other things. Yeah,
pretty exciting.
Yeah, I don't think they've finalized everything there yet, and I think that's why they're a little late in delaying the announcement of where it's going to be. I still think they're working on the actual plans of the hospital.
Do they have? Do you think they already know where they think it's going to be?
You know, I thought they did, but the information I received over the last week or so, it sounds like it's still not a done deal. So.
Okay, so they're still working on it.
Yeah, I think they're still working on it.
Because when I listened to that, I thought, well, clearly they're not going to put it on the existing site. It's going to have to be a new site.
Yes.
And I know that many years ago, when Country Meadows was built, the plan was looking at ultimately building a hospital there. But that
Correct.
was the same size as this size, and we're
Correct.
looking at something
Yes.
considerably different.
That's correct. Yeah. No, I agree with you, and I'm not sure. Like I said, I said it before at the last conversation here. It's in Shared Health's hands. Their transformation team is the team that handles all this, and they say that when they are at that stage, they will come out here and they will talk to us, and then that announcement will occur.
Okay, because this is probably the biggest build they've announced. I mean, they've announced funding for other facilities already in existence.
Yes, Portage is brand new. Portage and Neepawa are the two brand new hospitals.
Wow.
Yeah,
that's pretty big.
that's the two new. And he made that comment that day, and I never went back and looked. He said it's unusual to have, two brand new hospitals in the queue. And I don't know what he meant. I needed to go back and just check that and see when was the last time that the province of Manitoba was building two brand new hospitals.
Well, I think if COVID's done nothing, it's certainly opened up the weak points
Yes.
in our healthcare system
Oh,
and the
absolutely.
need
Yeah, I
for
know.
beds.
Yeah. No, it'll be interesting. And I mean, already people, and that's true, right? I mean, people are already mentioning, oh, how's that going to work? Where's the staff going to come from? And, where's all the people going to be coming? But you know what? Let's take one step at a time here. Let's get,
Well, I know the province is looking at some internationally trained
Yep,
people, and
yep.
I think if they're smart,
Yep.
they will really find a mechanism to bring the internationally trained nurses and doctors up to speed quicker. And there's support programs they can put in place.
Yep.
A lot of our internationally trained medical professionals
Yeah.
have worked as professionals in other countries. It's
Absolutely.
not like they're coming right out of graduate
No,
school.
I agree. And I think, I don't know if you've been following it, but Ontario has actually just passed something in cabinet to exactly what you're talking about. They realize there's a huge potential there.
Well, we're not capitalizing
and they
on
need
it.
to fast track it,
We,
right?
we talk about bringing people in, but it's not just simply for meat production. It's not simply for trucking. We have an opportunity to augment our healthcare
Yep,
system.
absolutely.
And this is not the first time. Back in the 60s, there was a real influx from the United Kingdom.
Yes.
They brought over all sorts of different kinds of health professionals
Yep.
at that point because we needed them at that
Yep.
point. So it's not like you're setting a precedent. So I hear you. I know that people have said that, and I said, you know what? You build it, they'll come.
Yeah, that's exactly that, and I agree with you 100%.
The community needs it. The area needs it.
Yeah.
Brandon is overwhelmed.
Yes.
Portage is getting a lot of overflow. I know in
Yeah.
the past 5 years or more,
Yeah.
lots of people have been not going to Brandon, but going to Portage.
I know. No, it's a great idea.
Yeah.
And, no, we're very fortunate. And,
yeah.
as you know, as we said, it's almost like a second industry.
Yeah.
You know, we've been looking for that second industry, and I mean, it's not. In essence, it is, right? 'Cause
Well,
it's
when you
gonna-
take a look at the numbers that will be involved,
Yeah.
not just simply the actual healthcare providers, but the support staff,
Absolutely.
the maintenance,
I know.
the administration. There's a whole avenue.
know.
It is another industry
Which
because it
takes-
would be a hub.
Which takes us back to housing, which, we talked about at our last
Yes.
council chat too, right? Housing continues to be such a big part of what the town needs to try to figure out.
Well, there is the potential for a number of builds. though.
Absolutely, there is. Now we just got to make sure that we can somehow entice, accommodate, do what we need to do to make it happen.
Well, I'm looking at the continual build happening at the CN property.
I know, that's so exciting.
It's just, and I look around the builds, co-op's building there.
Yeah.
That.
Yeah.
You've got the new police office.
Yeah.
You've got High Life and Stonecliff Builders building those 3 units.
4. They're actually, 4. Yeah, it's 4. They're building 128. Yeah.
Okay.
128 bedrooms. Yeah. 32 to a unit. Yeah.
4 of them.
Yeah.
You've got we just had the Kinsman Courts done.
Plus, yep.
And now we've got the one right across behind where the wheat shop
Yeah,
is.
and they're definitely going. We've been told they're definitely going ahead. Well, they already got the hole dug, so
Yeah.
they're definitely going ahead.
Yeah.
Yep. And now with the Best Western coming, I mean that's.
So that's a done deal?
There's a sign on the highway. You'll have to drive by it and take a look. Yeah.
Best Western. Wow. When are they going to start the build?
I would suggest, and I don't know this, I mean, because it's private enterprise, but
Yeah.
I'm thinking it's in the spring to summer.
There'll be a lot of building going on in Neepawa.
Yeah. Oh, for sure. I know.
Holy cow. That's really good. Now, do you have, is it just a hotel? Because
It
I
is.
know initially.
I think it's common. I don't think it's a. Yeah, I think they pretty well announced. It's. If I believe, if I'm correct, it's 67 units, and it's got a pool and a water slide.
Any conference?
I want to say yes, but I should.
Because I know originally that had been the hope for people
Yeah.
who were thinking.
I'm thinking
doing
in a
some
size.
planning.
They must have that. I know no restaurant. They made a decision not to have a restaurant. They made a decision that they were just going to go forward and hopefully we'd have another restaurant come to town. Or I mean, they're building close to the Boston Pizza there, and it's not that far from Chicken Chef. So
Well, and also there's that Chicken Delight property that's still for sale
I
in
know.
prime location.
And I wouldn't be surprised now with all this building going on that something doesn't occur there.
Well, it's again like Boston Pete, ideal location at that juncture.
No, it's a perfect.
And it's got a large parking lot. It's got
No.
all those kinds of
Yeah.
things.
No, I agree with you. So that's all exciting. Yeah. No, the new virus that showed up. I mean, it's kind of slowed everything down again now, right? I mean, it's.
Well, it's affecting everybody.
Yeah.
Whereas before we were a bit in a bubble.
Yes.
We're not in a bubble anymore.
No.
But it's going through and passing.
Yeah.
And they're saying, you get it. It builds up some immunity.
Yep.
And lots of people, they're making the boosters available. Kids are now getting the shots. I see there's going to be something at HMK coming
correct.
forward next week or something
Okay, could be. I didn't know that. Okay.
for the students.
Yeah. No, it's great.
And they'll be more public, and at least they're using the pharmacies now.
Yes. Oh no,
Which-
they've really evolved
Yeah.
on that too, haven't they? Right.
They've needed to.
Yeah. No, I think we're 3 weeks away at the month at the most that this will push through, and then I guess we'll see what the new world's like, right?
That's right.
I asked Nicole before I came over here because it was discussed at the table last night, and she represents our recreation. I said, what should I talk about in terms of L'Oreal Day? And then she said, well, Blake, you know what? It's on our agenda, and they do have a little bit in place, but they're not really concentrating a lot of money towards it or anything quite yet until they know what the rules are going to be, right? Because we just don't know.
That's still 3 weeks away.
I know.
4 weeks away, and a lot can happen
Yeah.
between now and then.
Yeah. So her position was if that didn't occur, the money that was allotted for that would be rolled up into the next one. So if that happened to be July the 1st, if that one hopefully moves forward, then that would mean bigger and better July the 1st, right? Because there'd be more money available for it, more fireworks, more whatever. So, and then if, God forbid, if July 1st wasn't available, and I guess it would just roll along, but.
Yeah, it was a shame, for example, we didn't get the Parade of Lights this year.
Yes, I know.
But I mean, it was understandable.
Yeah.
We're always accommodating or adjusting to our COVID times.
Yep.
And there's no firm and fast rule of thumb.
No.
Except mask, physical distancing, hygiene.
Yep.
Those seem to be the consistent.
But as we talked about
pieces.
at the last meeting here too, it's not like when March of 2020, right? People were terrified in March of 2020, right? And we're much more engaged now, understanding it, right? That this is the world we're living in, and we just have to work within it, right?
Yeah.
We've changed our position on it.
Well, which is good, and what I find sort of ironic, or not ironic, but sometimes I think we miss, is the world goes on around us. We've got issues in the Ukraine and Russia.
I saw.
We've got issues in other places. And those things don't stop.
I know.
And COVID is in that mix somewhere. And we
I
look
know.
at some jurisdictions that are just saying,
Yep.
go for it. And then we look at Australia that's tightened everything up.
Yeah.
Wouldn't even let
I know. Our tennis player.
the Serbian tennis player,
I know.
number one seed.
I know.
You're not vaccinated, you're not in.
I know. It isn't. Yeah, and you're right. It's funny. I did say that to someone yesterday. You know what? We're worried about the price of gas, and people in Ukraine are worried about their house being blown up. So I mean, and we're still.
Yeah. That whole argument, supply chain. The truth is, and we've had a tremendous amount of money that has gone to support people.
Oh, I know.
I guess, as with anything like this, there are those people who took advantage of that who really didn't need to.
It's just nature of the beast, right?
Sadly.
Yeah, sadly. Good point.
It's
No.
So,
I was talking to new High Life employees yesterday. They were on Zoom from Winnipeg. There's another group coming in. I'm assuming you'll know that at some point.
Yeah.
And I mean, I'm always impressed when I talk to them. They're coming. I can't imagine what they think when they land in Manitoba.
well, they finally hit a winter.
Yes.
The last 2 years, they would not have had this kind of of winter surprise.
No, that's exactly.
So
correct.
the new one's coming in now. Whoa. Okay.
I know.
Okay.
I know.
We haven't finished yet. It is a real. It's a change.
Yeah.
Our whole country's changed. The past 10 to 15 years, we've seen a real evolution, and you sometimes wonder where it goes. And in a smaller community like ours,
Yes.
you see the trickle-down effect much slower.
Right.
And maybe not to the same impact.
Yeah.
But, I mean, is it February we're going to get the results of the
That's what I've been told.
census?
That's what I've been told. February is coming out.
And be very interested
It
to
will
see
be
what they're
interesting
saying.
to see
It'll
all
be out
that.
of date already. But
But it would be good to see. Yeah, it'll be interesting to see even around us, right? Because I think it's even expanded in.
Oh, I'm sure it has.
To Rosedale and
Yeah.
Langford and Lansdowne. Yeah, no, those will be really interesting statistics to see. Yeah. What else? We had a council meeting last night. You know what? It was basically housekeeping. We didn't. There wasn't a lot of anything, major on the docket. We were, passing resolutions about next year's clinic lottery and things like that. But
Okay.
it's, Yeah, it's
So nothing new, everything sort of.
yeah. I guess I was going to say. I guess the one thing I could mention is grants. We are back into the grants. This is a time of year where we look at grants and for our nonprofits in our town that put forward their positions, and we had Ron from.
Arts Forward?
Yes, thank you. Arts Forward come forward. He always comes. And I said that to Ron. Good for you. Like, we get a lot of grants every year, applications, but he's one of the few that always comes every year to explain his position and his point of view. So that was always good. So yeah, that's always interesting. The council always struggles with that a little bit, right? I mean, you don't want to disappoint anybody. You don't want to offend anybody, but at the end of the day, there's usually not enough money to go around to what everybody wants. So
yeah, are you finding that some of the traditional kinds of activities or organizations, are they being used as much as they used to, say, 20, 25 years ago?
Oh, okay. Going back that far. Yeah, that's a good point, Don. I'm not sure. I know the pandemic has obviously changed everything.
Yeah.
I mean, we have discussed before that we know that our rec survey, which we've talked about numerous times, does not show those traditional sports in the top numbers anymore, right? I mean, it's now more basketball and walking trails and biking. So that's more, you're right, the hockey and the baseball is not as high up anymore. Curling is not as high up anymore, no. So yeah, you're right. That will be interesting, and I know we've talked about that lots here probably, and we talk about it at the council table too, right? I mean, those are things you have to kind of prepare for, right?
Yes.
I mean, because you're right. I mean, as it evolves, and as these sports or activities become less number of people in them, yeah, it's going to change, right? And I'm not sure how that's going to work. Those are tricky subjects to talk about, right? Because, well, not to talk about, but to solve.
Well, it's like the dilemma you had with the cemetery.
Yes.
Times change.
Yes, times change.
And it impacts on what had been historically the way of doing things. Sometimes it moves, and I hate to say it, sometimes we have to change with the times.
Yep.
Doesn't mean we always have to change, but sometimes we do.
Yeah. Yeah, no, and it will change as that new generation steps up, right? I mean, we are the baby boom generation, you and I sitting here, and
yes,
we're aging, and it'll be interesting to see what happens, right, when they actually step away from all their volunteer positions and work every day, go to work sites.
Yeah.
I mean, it happens. It happens every generation.
Well, so true. Really, you can't do much.
No.
It's just how it evolves.
Yeah.
It's so we talked about housing bills. That's good to hear that the Best Western is coming.
Yeah,
that's
excellent.
Nice.
Yeah, that's a great news.
We've seen that if you couple that with the Bay Hill Inn, who've done some renovations within the last couple of years or so. We can really accommodate a fair number of people coming here.
Once hopefully this pandemic becomes an endemic, I mean, then we can get back to having tournaments for sports and bring.
Well, and the other thing I'm thinking of, that's why I asked about conference rooms. This would be an ideal location because of some of the recreational stuff around for conferences.
Yeah, and I'm sure I'm sure there must be one there.
I'm hoping so because as it stands now, unless you do a fragmented conference,
it doesn't exist.
You really can't do that
exist.
here.
No, it's a good point. Yeah, no, I agree. We're always hoping that, as you say, that go back to that. We're always looking for that next restaurant to come to town. I said it the last when I was sitting here. I really think retail will take care of itself. I think, with a new Filipino community, they seem to be very much engaged in small business. We seem to be getting more people from Winnipeg taking an interest now in some of our real estate, our commercial real estate, like out on the CN property.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I think people are starting to see. Well, you said it yourself. I mean, with everything going on here, right, with the CN property, with the Best Western, with all the town projects, the new apartment block. I think they're starting to see this as, it's pretty obvious that we are a town that's underway to get bigger and better, and they're looking now to say, okay, well, how could we fit what would work here for us? So,
well, and other things too. As we grow and change, so do some of the challenges. I know we've talked in brief, excuse me, about it before. We had a brief mention, just in passing here in conversation with the two chaps before us, about bylaws.
Yes.
Because I know that last council and this council have gone through and taken a look and revised bylaws and things like that.
Yeah. No, I agree.
And we have more people. We have more people with vehicles. We have more people doing everything.
Yeah. No, I agree. No, it's something that's been on our. You're right. We've discussed it and talked about it, and I think you're right. I think that's one of those things that will eventually come into play. Right. Eventually, we're going to have some type of enforcement, right? Because right now we don't have a lot of teeth, right? We can, we can suggest and we can ask and we can, but at the end of the day, unless we're willing to take somebody to court, we don't have any ability. Whereas a bylaw officer would be much more black and white. It would be tickets, and it would be
very straightforward.
Yeah, very straightforward.
Here's the bylaw.
Yeah.
This is how you're in contravention. Here's the ticket or warning or what process you decide.
Yeah, we were kind of hoping education would solve it, but you know what? Because that's always that slippery slope too, right? Because you're gonna probably catch unintended people that go, "Whoa, now wait a minute," that.
Well, it depends on when you do your education.
Yes. Yeah.
Because in between education sessions, you could have a whole bunch of new people.
Yes.
Who had no idea.
Yeah.
They weren't there for that original.
No, I agree.
And so you're right. There are some logistical challenges with it.
But you're right. You talk to other mayors. You talk to the mayor in Minnedosa, the mayor in Gladstone. We all have the same issues, right? And whether that, if and when that bylaw piece gets into place, it may be a person that covers more than just us, right? Because that probably would work much better financially. So that's something we discussed. I'm thinking of that. I guess I'm not sure you're aware of it, but the planning board, and the application's out in the paper right now, so it's common knowledge, is Jeff's getting bigger and better, at his building inspector. Like he's looking for an assistant now.
Yes, I saw that in the paper.
Okay. Yeah. So
yes, I wondered if I thought, I hope Jeff's not going.
No.
No. Then I read it and I thought it looks more like an assistant position.
Yeah. No, it's just he's got so busy, right? It's just because he took all the courses, it became a Part 3, which is extremely exciting. Because a Part 3 now allows him, which we never could before, that allowed him to do the Kinsman Plus. It allowed him, like he couldn't do the school. Now he could. He didn't do the file hall. Now he could. Now he's doing the RCMP. He'll be able to do the Best Western.
Okay, and he's got a lot of other things that need to be looked at.
Exactly.
These things take more time.
So now you got 45 units going up in the CN property. You got multiple people renovating in their houses. He also takes care of Rosedale and Lansdowne. So he's got a big area.
He's got a big area with a lot going on.
Yeah. So he said himself. He said it has to change. He said this. It's working. But it needs, so anyhow.
So how is that funded? How is that position funded?
That position is funded from our building permits. Like every time you walk in there and go, I'm building a house. I don't know a house, but if you were building an addition, you probably, $100,000 addition might give you I could be wrong about this, but let's just say it's $400 or $500 is your building permit. And that allows Jeff to go in and make sure the electrical's done right and the carpenter's right and the plumber's right. So everybody chugging along, right? Well, now when you get into Part 3, you're into big projects. When you're into a $5 million RCMP bill, you're into a $12 million, I believe, Kinsman Plus. Well, obviously those numbers go up dramatically. So it's definitely, it's funded, and it works extremely well. And we have a good board. I sit on it. Murray sits on it from the planning board side for Neepawa, and then we have the other two municipalities with two of their representatives, and it works very well.
Well, I'm just thinking when you're taking a look at all this building happening, and the fact that it's part of a process, because if you don't get signed off on, do the insurance companies ask to see if you had a building?
You won't get an occupancy if you're in a new house. Like you can't move into that house, into a new house
unless it's signed off.
Yeah, unless Jeff signs it. You have to have an occupancy permit, and they have to have one for the Kinsman Plus, and they'll have to have one for the for the RCMP. Yeah, you have to hit those, otherwise you don't get to go in. Yeah. So it's a big, good for Jeff. Good for him. That's a huge role he's taken on there, and he's really good at it. And I'm hoping that I don't know. The applications just went out. We have a meeting next week. So we'll see how that goes, if he's had anybody that he's going to be interviewing.
It might be, because Jeff had his own construction company.
Yeah, no, that's absolutely right.
That's how he started.
Yep, no, Jeff was a red steel carpenter, so he understood all that. And I think he's hoping maybe to get someone with a little bit of experience, but I think he's willing to train too. So, But that creates another problem too, and it may be something we can talk about another day, but I mean, that also creates a problem inside our building, right, for space. Because, you know, the town building is starting to get more and more crowded, right?
Well, I mean, with functional things happening.
Yeah.
So you either lose your boardroom.
Yes, right.
Or you have to take a look at other kinds of space.
Yeah,
and we've kicked that around a bit.
Yeah, and that's getting closer and closer all the time now, right? That we have to make it. I mean, it's not a tomorrow or next year decision, but it's the town's always been good at that, is planning, you know, 4 or 5 years down the road. So I think you will see something starting to be discussed over the next year.
And we've talked about, wouldn't it be nice to somehow incorporate that courthouse?
I agree.
Somehow.
I know.
Somehow.
I don't disagree with you, and that's been discussed. We've actually discussed it. It's just, I always say, why did our forefathers build everything that you had to have 5 steps to go into? Like,
well, that was the way it was done.
I know. Look at the old post office.
Gosh, all of that.
I know.
And I remember old post offices in small communities around.
Yeah.
That's how they were designed.
I know.
You know, walk up the steps, went in one, can come out the other. You know?
I know.
It was
I know.
just a way of doing things.
Yeah, but that was one of the quick things we did talk about last night at our table, was accessibility, because that's a big part now of the government of Manitoba. They're really pushing for that. So we did put that on our table last night when we were discussing. We were updating our policy, and Councillor Gerard mentioned that it would be nice to take a look again at the county courthouse, right, and to see what we could do to make it accessible.
Good for that.
Yeah,
because that could open up some possibilities.
Absolutely.
The other thing is, I guess Park Lake's still on the go.
Yeah, again, we talked about that. Yep, sorry. We actually sent out the first tenders have been completed, just a very small part of it, but Rob Smith won it. And actually, it will start either next week or the week after. He'll start bringing a rock and product like that into the lake to start getting ready for.
So there's no cleaning out of it?
No. So, and again, that question's always asked, right? So it will be cleaned a little bit, but don't forget the way the rules work with the government of Manitoba and the disaster fund is
can't change it.
It goes back to what it was.
So if you put rock in there, it might.
This will be more for the berm. But
Okay.
you know, and we will be cleaning it a little bit to help with our berm. But if we wanted to clean it, it would probably, our numbers told us about $1 million, which would be absorbed by the town of Neepawa.
Wow.
And at the end of the day, also our studies showed that it's still not getting what people want. People were chasing this idea that it would become this freshwater lake that you could do that you could do fishing in and swimming. It's just not enough movement in that lake. You know what? The water comes in.
I hear you. I would think, much as that would be a wonderful little thing to have, better to look at Lake Irwin.
Yeah.
Because here there isn't that movement.
That's exactly.
Rather put it back to more of a conservation, nature reserve kind of thing, where you maybe could throw a canoe on there.
That's what we're hoping for. We're actually trying to figure out where we could maybe just get a little bit of a channel in and do some kayaking and canoeing. So
that would be
But
nice.
you're right, it's underway, and they're still ready to. They're still hoping to get it ready for next winter. So.
Well, the tag team duo before you took up a nice
Good
piece of time. Anything? We've got less than 2 minutes left. Anything you'd like to throw out there?
No, I don't think so. Like I said, that's why I sent Mark and Yves here. Well, I didn't send them. I asked them if they would come because I knew they, you know, it's good to hear from them, right? I mean, Yves has such a, they both have such big roles in this town, right? And somehow, I don't think people always see what they do, and it's so good when they get a chance to talk. So
30 seconds. Last year in office, what are you hoping to achieve?
You know, I said, I think I've said it to other people, I said it's still 25% of our term, right? So, you know what, we still have to just view it as that. It's not like we're coasting now. It's not like we're saying, oh, you know, we did all these, we did these things in our first 3 years. You know, we have 25%. In some respect, we're speeding it up a little bit, right? Because we're not quite sure who's going to run, who's coming back, you know, so we're speeding some of our projects up. So I think, actually, in some respects, you'll see maybe not big projects done, but maybe a little more things behind the scenes that are, you know.
Well, I see them madly away doing snow right off the hop, moving like crazy. That's good to see. A lot of snow.
No, that is amazing this year, isn't it? Consider the last couple of years, right? So otherwise, we're good.
Well, then I thank you for coming out. I look forward to seeing you again next time. And for all of our viewers, please talk to any one of us. If you've got something that you want brought up or questions asked, please call the station here, let us know, and they'll let me know, and I'll make sure to ask those questions to the people who sit in the chairs here. Thank you for watching. May 2022 be a productive and happy and safe year for you all, and look forward to seeing you next time. Take care. Bye for now.